Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf from our IT Visualizer channel. We will continue our lab, the Matrix Labs, the video number 18. We've been discussing in the previous video the following. I've been working for a couple of videos on discussing the DCDIAG tool, which is a tool to analyze the health and to troubleshoot domain controllers and Active Directory. And we have seen that this tool is very, very useful, and it will run about 20 or 21 tests to verify the functionality and the health status of both the domain controllers and the Active Directory. We have seen how we can set up a task schedule or a schedule task to run daily, so we can generate reports concerning the health of our domain controllers, and we can archive them and analyze them later manually or through automated tools or through programs that can analyze these logs, and through it we can predict any future problems with our domain controllers, or to focus on warning or errors. We have seen this, and we have seen also the AI tools giving us suggestions concerning a command line that we should run on any domain controller to generate reports. We all know that we need to run DCDIAG tool / a couple of switches so we can get a detailed report. We have seen how we can force the AI to give us many answers in many simple forms just by changing the terminology or change the term that we are or the terms or the words that we are asking the AI with. So for example, when I tell him to analyze a command line using layman terms, this will explain the command in non-technical terms. If I change the term from layman terms to explain with real-world examples, it will give me scenarios or real-world scenarios on where this kind of command lines are implemented and what is the situation. So we can get a lot of useful data through manipulating the words that we are communicating with the AI tools. So we will continue asking some AI tools or the same AI tools that we are using through this lab, which is Claude 3 and ChatGPT for all the latest version of AI produced by OpenAI and the Gemini. So we have seen a lot of terminologies. For example, we have seen that if we tell him to explain using layman terms, this will give us a very simple explanation. If we tell him to explain with real-world examples, it will give us examples. So we'll continue a couple of terminologies. We have seen that I have asked Rika AI, this is a free AI tool, asked it to provide me with some words that I can give it to AI tools or similar AI tools to explain code or scripting or some command lines. It gives me about 10 terminologies or 10 words, so I am using every one of them. So for example, let's see here, explain the command DCDIAG /s, the name of the server /v, this is, we know it is verbose to give detailed log file /v or /f, which is the file location, which is so and so. So this will run DCDIAG the 21 tests, okay, /s it will run on this server, which is our primary domain controller, /v it will be a detailed log, and f it will save it to this location. So let's see, when I tell him to explain how the command, this whole line of command works step by step from execution to generation of the report. We will see it will begin explaining how this command life cycle, it will begin from running the command until communicating with the remote domain controllers. After finishing running the DCDIAG reports on the local server, then it will begin connecting to remote servers. We need to know the life cycle or to know the cycle of this command by providing this terminology or provide this prompt. Let's see what will be the answer. And this is one of the ways to explain how a command works. Not only what is the purpose of the command, but to know its life cycle, how it communicates, how it works. If it needs to connect with remote servers, I need to know, or to need to be explained to me. So let's see this answer and see how it is provided in a very, very simple way.
Here's a step-by-step explanation of how the command diag/s win 2016 DC1/v/f c /diag report.log works, from execution to the generation of the report. Step-by-step execution. Command initiation. The user runs the command diag/s win 2016 DC1/v/f c /diag report.log from a command prompt with appropriate permissions, typically administrator. Parameter parsing. DIAG. The system recognizes DIAG as the command to invoke the domain controller diagnostic tool. /s. The tool identifies Win 2016 DC1 as the target domain controller for the diagnostics. /v. The tool sets the output to verbose mode, ensuring detailed information for each test. /f c /diag report.log. The tool determines that the output should be saved to the file c:\DCDIAG report.log. Connection to the specified domain controller. The DIAG tool connects to the domain controller Win 2016 DC1. It checks network connectivity and verifies that it can communicate with Win 2016 DC1 to perform the tests. Execution of diagnostic tests. The tool runs a series of predefined diagnostic tests on Win 2016 DC1. These tests include, but are not limited to, connectivity. Verifies network connectivity to the domain controller. DNS. Checks the DNS configuration and functionality. Replication. Tests Active Directory replication processes. Services. Ensures that all necessary services are running. FSMO roles. Checks the status and availability of flexible single master operation roles. Event logs. Reviews the event logs for any errors or warnings. Permissions. Validates security settings and policies. Verbose output generation. Because verbose mode /v is enabled, each test generates detailed output, including the steps taken, the results of those steps, and any additional information that may help diagnose issues or confirm successful operations. Compilation of results. The results of all the tests are compiled into a single output stream. This includes success messages, detailed information about each test, and any errors or warnings encountered during the diagnostics. Writing to the log file. The compiled results are written to the specified log file at c:/DCDIAG report.log. This log file includes the verbose output, making it a comprehensive record of the diagnostic session. Completion and notification. Once all tests are completed and the results are written to the log file, the DIAG tool terminates its process. The user is notified of the completion and the log file can be reviewed. Outcome. Detailed diagnostic report. The log file c:/DCDIAG report.log contains detailed information about each test performed on the Win 2016 DC1 domain controller. This file can be opened and reviewed to understand the health, configuration, and potential issues related to Win 2016 DC1. Problem identification. Any issues identified during the diagnostics are documented in the log file, including error messages, warnings, and possible causes. This helps administrators pinpoint specific problems. Actionable insights. The detailed information provided in verbose mode can guide administrators in troubleshooting and resolving any issues found. It also serves as a record of the domain controller's state at the time of the diagnostics. By following these steps, the command helps ensure that the domain controller Win 2016 DC1 is operating correctly and provides administrators with the necessary information to maintain and troubleshoot their Active Directory environment.
So you can see here, this is another way or another format for the answer given to us by the AI tool. Okay, so this explains the command line in a step-by-step procedure. It will give you the detailed step-by-step from the running the command on the server to the connection to the remote server, if it is a remote server, and then running the command one by one, and then the output. So everything is explained in a good way. If we go to Gemini, we will see the same answer. Actually, there is no, there is not a lot of differences. They are using the same format or answer template, maybe, because I think they have the same answer. As we can see here, parameter processing, command line initiation, contact the server, the same. Then diagnostic tests, even though the answer of Gemini is not that much. Report generation, saving the report, completion. So this is the answer of Gemini, which is not that good. Then if you go to Claude and ask it the same, it will give us also a similar format: execution, then target selection. Then it added something like authentication if it is running on a remote server. Okay, so you need to provide a username and password if you are running the DCDIAG with a limited user. But if you are using the domain admin account, you not need to provide a username and the password parameter to the DCDIAG. Then test selection: if you can modify the parameter to run certain tests from the DCDIAG group of tests. So you can ask it to run DNS tests, for example, only. So this is also can be controlled. Verbose, as we see, test execution, then it will begin the same as ChatGPT for all, the same thing, saying that connectivity test, it will test the connectivity to the server. Active Directory database check, this is not listed with ChatGPT 4o. Service and component verification, security and access control checks, file replication. Okay, this can be done, but it is not file replication. It is DFRS, or distributed file file replication service. Knowledge consistency, this is also done, and flexible. So we can see here every tool is giving us a couple of tests that will be run by the DCDIAG. Okay, again, and then the test result collection, log file preparation, okay, log file generation, log file content, review and analysis. So this is the same answer as ChatGPT for all. They are all giving the same answer. So this is one way to ask the AI tool, through changing the prompt or the way that we ask the AI. So let's ask it another question. Provide an example scenario where the command so and so would be particularly useful. Remember that we have run a same command saying give us real world example. Here we are saying provide an example scenario where the DCDIAG so and so would be particularly useful. If we go and see here the answer, let's see, this is a good example. So let me read it out loudly for you. This is also one good answer. Just a moment. So you can tell him to provide me with the real world scenarios for the DCDIAG command, or provide an example scenario. So I think they are the same. If we have asked it before to provide real world example, this is the same, provide an example. So think it is the same, but let me read it for the last time just to make it more clear for you how to use this command in a real world scenario.
Example scenario: troubleshooting Active Directory replication issues.
Scenario description.
An organization has been experiencing intermittent issues with Active Directory replication. Users have reported problems with authentication and accessing network resources, and there are indications that changes made on one domain controller are not propagating correctly to others. The domain controller Win 2016 DC1 is suspected to be experiencing issues. Steps using the command: identify the problem. The IT team receives reports of authentication failures and resource access issues. They notice discrepancies in user account changes not being reflected across all domain controllers. Run the diagnostic command. To diagnose the issue, an administrator decides to run the DIAG command targeting the suspected domain controller. Bash. Copy code. DIAG/S. Win 2016 DC1/V/F C /diag port.log. Execution and analysis. The command initiates a series of tests on Win 2016 DC1. Connectivity tests. Ensure that Win 2016 DC1 can communicate with other domain controllers. DNS tests. Verify that DNS settings are correct and that Win 2016 DC1 can resolve names properly. Replication tests. Check the status of Active Directory replication and identify any replication errors. Services tests. Confirm that all necessary services on Win 2016 DC1 are running as expected. Event log analysis. Review the event logs for any errors or warnings that could provide clues to the problem. Review the output. The detailed verbose output is saved to C:/DCDIAG/DCDIAG_report.log. The administrator opens this log file and reviews the results. Connectivity. The tests show that Win 2016 DC1 can connect to other domain controllers. DNS. No DNS issues are found. Replication. Errors are found in the replication tests, indicating that Win 2016 DC1 is failing to replicate changes to and from other domain controllers. Services. All required services are running. Event logs. The event logs show replication errors with specific error codes that can be looked up for more details. Diagnose the issue. The replication errors point to a problem with a specific directory partition. The verbose log includes detailed information about which partition and what errors are occurring. Resolve the issue. The administrator uses the information from the log to identify the root cause. For example, they might find that the issue is due to a corrupted replication link or an outdated security policy blocking replication. They take corrective actions, such as reconfiguring the replication links, applying necessary updates, or fixing corrupted data. Verify the fix. After making the necessary changes, the administrator runs the DIAG command again to ensure that the replication issues are resolved. Bash. Copy code. DIAG/S. Win 2016 DC1/V/F. C. /diag port.log. This time, the log file shows that all tests pass, confirming that the replication issues have been fixed. Monitor and document. The administrator continues to monitor the domain controller to ensure stability. The log file and the steps taken to resolve the issue are documented for future reference and to help troubleshoot similar issues if they occur again. Benefits of using the command in this scenario. Focus diagnostics. Targeting Win 2016 DC1 helps narrow down the issue to a specific domain controller. Detailed information. The verbose output provides comprehensive details necessary for troubleshooting complex issues. Permanent record. Saving the output to a log file allows for thorough analysis and documentation. Efficient problem solving. The detailed logs help quickly identify the root cause of the replication issues, leading to faster resolution. In this scenario, the command DIAG/S, Win 2016 DC1/V/F, C, /diag report.log is instrumental in diagnosing and resolving Active Directory replication issues, ensuring the domain controller Win 2016 DC1 is healthy and functional.
Okay, this is a good example on a real-world situation, but here it didn't give us the solution or the steps for the solution. So you can modify the prompt to give you the solution or the solution steps. Okay, so this is a very good example to make the answer of the AI more understandable or more convenient. So here, if you go and ask Gemini the same question, it will give us a similar example. I will not repeat it back. It is similar to what ChatGPT 4o, for example, is reporting slow login time and occasional difficulty accessing network resources. The same thing. I think it's also related to here, but it's a very short answer and not like a detailed one like ChatGPT 4o. Okay, if we go to Claude, okay, and see the answer, if you go down, let's see what the scenario says here. Particular rule investigation application is a process in a scenario. An administrator might notice some replication issues such as reporting. So he's here saying that this can be used when there is a problem concerning replication issues, and this is not there is some signs of replication issues. For example, reporting that account credentials are not being recognized or that their group membership appeared incorrect. Some users, when they type their password, they say that the system said the password is incorrect even though it is correct, or it is not recognized, or when he say when he log in with his account, say this his account is not there, okay, or it's not in the active directory, not being recognized, and their group membership. So if they have some membership in some active directory groups, it's not recognized between different domain controllers, slow login times or application performance issues due to inconsistent data across domain controllers, even log entries on domain controllers indicating replication failures or errors. So this is signs of replication issue. If you have some users account credentials are not being recognized, membership is not being recognized, slow login times, all of this can be a sign of replication issues. And then it will be the root cause should be or should appear by running this command. Anyway, so you can see the log generated. Okay, so he's saying the situation, but he didn't give us uh, uh, one situation or give us a good example, real world example like ChatGPT 4.0. ChatGPT 4.0 seems to be more natural example, okay, or a good example. This is not that good, even though it is stating it is a replication issue. Okay, here we can see that connectivity test will be done between the target domain controller and other domain controllers in the environment. This is the same is said by ChatGPT 4.0. Checks on the database of Active Directory to identify any corruption or inconsistency caused by replication failures. Verify that the replication service status and health, not FRS. This is an old service. Now it is DFRS, responsible for replicating Sysvol portal, which contains critical data for Active Directory operations. This is good, saying that the replication issue may be related, or this signs may be related to Sysvol not replicating correctly. Analyze of the knowledge consistency checker and replication topology. And again, one of the things that maybe the service of the knowledge consistency checker is not working properly, so the replication takes a lot of time. Okay, we all know that KCC is responsible for determining the shortest path for the replication to be implemented. Okay, so it has a topology of all of the domain controllers, how it can reach every one of them in the shortest amount of time, or in a very short time, or in the shortest or in the fastest way possible. Okay, so if this is not working properly, the replication will take a lot of time and maybe it will fail. Examination of logs and diagnostic data. Anyway, you can see that this example is not that organized like ChatGPT 4.0. So this is one way also to explain a command. Let's see one of the important questions. What are the performance implication of running this command, especially on a large Active Directory domain? This is one of the very good examples said concerning this command, because running this command will run a lot of tests on one domain controller. This is not an issue if it is only one domain controller, but if you run this command on all of the domain controllers, this will have some performance issues on the server running the command and on remote servers running the command, so, or the local server running the command and on the remote servers running the command. So this is one of the things we need to focus on. If you need to run this command then on all servers, then should be done under certain circumstances. So let's see what is the answer here.
Running the command diag/s win 2016 DC1/v/f c /diag /diag_report.log can have several performance implications, especially in a large Active Directory AD domain. Here's an overview of the potential impacts. Performance implications. Increased CPU usage. Diagnostic tests. The DIAG command performs multiple diagnostic tests, which can be CPU intensive, especially in verbose mode /v. This can lead to increased CPU usage on the Win2016 DC1 domain controller. Impact on services. If the domain controller is already under heavy load, running DIAG can exacerbate CPU utilization, potentially impacting other services running on the server. Memory consumption. Verbose output. The detailed output generated by the verbose mode requires more memory to process and store the results before writing them to the log file. Impact. On a system with limited memory, this can lead to increased memory consumption, potentially affecting the performance of other applications and services. Network traffic. Replication and connectivity tests. DIAG performs tests that involve network communication with other domain controllers and DNS servers. In a large AD domain, this can generate significant network traffic. Impact on network performance. If the network is already congested, the additional traffic generated by DIAG can further degrade network performance, affecting other network-dependent applications. Disk I/O. Log file writing. Saving the verbose output to a log file /f c /diag report.log involves disk I/O operations. Depending on the size of the output and the performance of the storage system, this can lead to increased disk activity. Impact on disk performance. On systems with high disk I/O demand, this can affect the performance of other applications that rely on disk access. Impact on other services. Service availability. Running DIAG might temporarily impact the performance of other services running on the domain controller, such as authentication services, file services, or applications that rely on AD. User experience. Users might experience slower authentication times or delays in accessing network resources during the execution of the command. Mitigation strategies. Schedule during off-peak hours. Timing. Run DIAG during periods of low activity to minimize the impact on users and other services. Maintenance windows. Schedule the diagnostic tests during maintenance windows when the impact on business operations is minimal. Monitor system resources. Resource monitoring. Monitor CPU, memory, disk I/O, and network utilization before and during the execution of DIAG to ensure that the system can handle the additional load. Adjust based on monitoring. If resource utilization is high, consider rescheduling or running the command with less frequency. Limit scope. Selective tests. Instead of running all tests, selectively run only the necessary tests that are relevant to the issue at hand. This can reduce the overall load on the system. Example, use specific DIAG tests with parameters to limit the scope, such as /test, DNS for DNS-related diagnostics. Use a staging environment. Testing. If possible, run the diagnostics in a staging or test environment that mirrors the production environment. This helps identify potential performance impacts without affecting production systems. Summary. Running the command DIAG /s Win2016 DC1/v/f c /diag report.log can significantly impact the performance of the targeted domain controller, particularly in a large AD domain. The increased CPU, memory, network, and disk I/O usage can affect other services and user experiences. By scheduling diagnostics during off-peak hours, monitoring system resources, limiting the scope of tests, and using a staging environment, administrators can mitigate these performance impacts and ensure that critical AD services remain responsive and stable.
So we can see here, this is one of the good answers. It is giving us some recommendations to run this command that is related to performance. So this is very, very good example. If you go to Gemini and ask it the same question, it will give us almost the same answer. He's saying here one thing: for small and medium Active Directory domains with a handful of domain controllers, the performance impact is typically minimal. The tests are designed to be efficient and should not cause significant resource consumption. So for example, if you have a domain or you have a domain environment only consists of 2 domain controllers, so this test will not do a lot of performance impact. Okay, but if it is large, then this will could increase CPU usage and what was said before with ChatGPT 4.0. So even though he's saying here you need to make sure this will be run also scheduled on off-peak hours, the same answer as ChatGPT 4.0. So this is one thing, or a different answer, only the line Gemini that have provided us saying that in a small environment this will not do a lot of damage. Okay, so if we go and ask Claude 3, the performance, it will say the same actually: CPU and memory utilization, disk I/O, network bandwidth, verbose logging, domain controller load, and the same here to mediate the performance impact: schedule off-peak hours, target less critical domain controllers, limit the scope of tests, manage log file size. I think this is not possible. Monitor resource utilization. Anyway, so we can see also the answer is similar to that said by ChatGPT 4.0. We can go and ask it with a different prompt, what are the best practices. It will give us a similar answer or a repeated answer. For example, during off-peak hours, this was said before. Monitor system resources, this also was said before. Use verbose, we have said this before. Limit the scope of test, this was said before also. Here, log files, we have said this before. Review and act on findings. Document. Test in a staging environment or in a virtual environment. This was all said before in the previous answer. One thing is keep system updated. Ensure that your domain controller and other related systems are up to date with the latest patches and updates. This helps to avoid issues caused by known bugs and vulnerabilities. This is one answer, okay, or one different answer. Use appropriate permissions. This was said before also. So as we can see here, the best practices, or when we tell him to give us best practice, it combined all of the previous answers in this answer, or most of it in this answer. If you go and ask Gemini, it will do the same. It will combine its previous answers and give us this answer: targeted diagnosis, optimizing report output, utilizing results, best practice, schedule regular checks or task schedule, as we have said before, document findings and action, document, stay up to date. We have seen this in ChatGPT 4.0. So this is another way to ask the AI tool to provide best practice or give us the best practice when running this command. So this was the answer of Gemini. If we go to Claude and ask it the same question, it will give us also a repeated answer. Schedule DCDIAG during off-peak hours, this was said before. Target a less critical domain controller, this was said before. Dedicated storage for logs, this is one good recommendation: to save your log files on a separate hard disk from the operating system hard disk, a dedicated storage volume. Okay, so this is one thing also that was not said. Manage log files and retention, so even the logs you should keep it for a certain amount of time and then, or retention period, and then you should get rid of it in a secure way. So this is also one good answer. Okay, limit the scope of test, we have seen this before in the performance issue recommendation. Disable non-essential services and processes before DCDIAG. Consider temporarily disabling or stopping non-essential service. This is not, I don't know if it is a good recommendation. We don't know the non-essential services. Ensure proper permissions and credentials. It will be done, we will use it, the domain admin account. Review and analyze documents and records. Anyway, so this is a good answer. Let's go to another type of question. I asked it another type or another. We can see here that every time we ask the question in a different format, it gives us a different answer or add another answer. Okay, let's see here. If you ask it, for example, are there any alternative tools or methods to achieve the same results as the DCDIAG so and so command? So this is one good question. Are there any alternative tools than DCDIAG that give us the same output. So this is another good thing. When you run any command, you can ask the AI, are there any alternative tools or methods to achieve the same result as the command that I am giving it to you? So this is one good answer. We need to read it loudly so we can see how good it is. Just a moment.
Yes, there are several alternative tools and methods that can achieve similar results to the DIAG/F. Win 2016 DC1/V/F C /diag/diag_report.log command. These tools offer different interfaces and functionalities for diagnosing and troubleshooting Active Directory AD issues. Here are some alternatives. 1. Active Directory users and computers ADUC. Description: a graphical user interface tool that provides a way to manage AD objects, including users, computers, and groups. Usage: while ADUC does not provide the same detailed diagnostics as DIAG, it allows administrators to perform basic checks and view the status of AD objects and their properties. Limitations: limited to basic management tasks and lacks detailed diagnostic capabilities. 2. Active Directory Replication Status Tool, AID REPLSTATUS. Description: a graphical tool from Microsoft that helps administrators analyze the replication status of domain controllers in an AD forest. Usage: provides a visual representation of replication errors and helps identify issues with AD replication. Limitations: focus specifically on replication and does not cover other aspects like DNS health or service status. 3. RepAdmin. Description: a command line tool that provides detailed information about replication activities. Usage: commands like repadmin/repl-summary, repadmin/showrepl, and repadmin/showreps can be used to monitor and troubleshoot replication issues. Limitations: focused on replication and requires knowledge of various command parameters. 4. Event Viewer. Description: a built-in Windows tool that allows administrators to view and analyze system, security, and application logs. Usage: reviewing the directory service, DNS server, and system logs can help identify issues related to AD and domain controllers. Limitations: requires manual analysis and lacks the comprehensive testing of DIAG. 5. System Center Operations Manager, SCOM. Description: an enterprise-level monitoring tool that provides comprehensive monitoring for AD and other services. Usage: can monitor the health of domain controllers, replication, and other AD components, and generate alerts for issues. Limitations: requires additional infrastructure and licensing, and may be more complex to set up. 6. PowerShell Complets. Description: PowerShell provides a range of complets for managing and diagnosing AD. Usage: get AD replication failure, identifies replication failures. Get AD domain controller, retrieves information about domain controllers. Test computer secure channel, tests the secure channel between a computer and a domain controller. Test AD service account, tests the functionality of a managed service account. Limitations: requires familiarity with PowerShell scripting. 7. Microsoft Azure AD Connect Health. Description: a cloud-based service that provides monitoring and insights for AD and Azure AD environments. Usage: monitors the health of domain controllers, ADFS, and Azure AD Connect, providing alerts and recommendations. Limitations: requires integration with Azure and may not cover on-premises only environments. 8. NetDiag. Description: a deprecated tool that was used for network-related diagnostics, including some AD tests. Usage: provided network diagnostics that could indirectly help with AD troubleshooting. Limitations: deprecated and replaced by tools like DIAG and other modern diagnostics tools. Comparison and recommendations: RepAdmin and AID REPLSTATUS are excellent for detailed replication diagnostics. Event Viewer and SCOM provide broader system monitoring but require manual log analysis or additional setup. PowerShell templates offer flexibility and can be scripted for automated diagnostics. ADUC and Azure AD Connect Health are more management-focused but provide useful insights. Each tool has its strengths and may be used in conjunction with others to provide a comprehensive diagnostic and troubleshooting approach for Active Directory environments. Depending on the specific needs, combining tools can offer a more robust solution than relying on a single command.
So as we can see here, this is a lot of alternatives, but I think DCDIAG is more contains more tests and combine a lot of these tools together. But this is an alternative if you need to run certain tests using certain tools. So we can see here this is very good answer. If you go to Gemini and ask it the same question, it will give us the same answer actually. There is adding something like third-party tools, not Microsoft tools. I think here it didn't give us names for these third-party tools. But anyway, there is a lot of third-party tools that can monitor the Active Directory health and domain controllers like AD Manage Engine Plus, okay, AD Manage Engine Plus from Manage Engine company, or SolarWinds monitor tool for AD from SolarWinds company. So I don't think this is a good answer. If we go to Claude and see the answer, the alternative methods, here is saying Active Directory application, a status tool, replimon, okay, it was said, domains and trusts. This tool can be used to manage and diagnose domain trust, as well verify the proper functioning of the domain infrastructure. This is one new tool. Active Directory users and computers. Anyway, event viewer, DCDIAG from remote administration tools, PowerShell commandlets. I think it was stated by ChatGPT for all third-party tools. Here we can see some popular AD or third-party tools concerning AD like Quest, Spotlight on Active Directory, Smurfs, Directory Service Protector, and Manage Engine AD Manager Plus. This is a very famous tool. Okay, I have discussed this in the COVID-19 lab, okay, using this tool. It provides very good troubleshooting and monitoring tools for the Active Directory. Manual checks and procedures. Anyway, so this is not also a good answer. I see that the most comprehensive and easy answer is the ChatGPT 4o answer. Even though the comparison between the tools is not fair, because Claude 3, Sonnet, and Gemini is free tools. ChatGPT 4o is a paid tool. Okay, we need to compare them or compare all of the paid tools together. But anyway, we can see that ChatGPT 4o is good. If we go and see, for example, provide links or reference to official documentation that explains this command, it will give us some links to Microsoft or a link for Microsoft documentation concerning the DCDIAG command. So this is if you need, or this prompt could be used when you need to have reference or to see reference links for the command that you are using. So this can be done also. If you go and ask Gemini the same question, it will give us links to Microsoft documentation. So this is a good thing when you are trying to explain or to try to understand the command. You can ask the AI tool to provide the links to explain this command. But before that, you can ask the AI to explain it and summarize also. If there is some documents, it can summarize it, and some pages, it also can summarize it. So you can use the AI tools efficiently. So we can see here the answer is not that good. If we go to Claude, Claude will not be able to provide links because it is not linked to the internet, or the free one is not linked to the internet. The Claude 3 Sonnet, I mean. So let's see another type of question related to ChatGPT 4o. On which versions of Windows Server is this command supported? It will give us that it is supported, used, or it is supported on Windows versions from Windows Server 2008 until Windows Server 2022. So this is also another thing when you are running a command, what platforms or what Windows operating system this command is supported or it's supported. So DCDIAG is supported on Windows Server 2008, 2008 R2, 2012, 2012 R2, 2016, 2019, and 2022. So it supports all of the Windows Server platforms, I think, except of Windows Server 2003, which is expired and depreciated. So this is one thing to consider. Also, when you run a command, on which versions of Windows this command is supported. So it can be supported on a couple of operating systems and not supported on others. So we can see here that the same answer from Gemini. Okay, I didn't ask Claude for that, but it's very obvious that the command is supported on a lot of Windows Server operating systems. So let's go to the next question concerning also this command. What security consideration could be taken into account when running this command, especially in a sensitive network environment? So this is a very sensitive report that contains a lot of troubleshooting data concerning your domain controller. So if you are in a sensitive network environment, for example, in an environment that security is a basic thing or it's a focus, so what you need to do, so this is also another good question. Even though if you are not in a sensitive network, what are the security precautions or the security considerations you should take when you're running this command, because it contains sensitive data? Okay, so here it will give us also some recommendations, confidential, or let me show you what is the recommendation. It's also some good best practices or security best practices. Just wait for a moment.
When running the diag/s win 2016 DC1/v/f c /diag report.log command in a sensitive network environment, several security considerations should be taken into account to ensure the integrity and confidentiality of the diagnostic process and the information generated. Here are some key security considerations. 1. Administrative privileges. Requirement. The DIAG command typically requires administrative privileges to access and diagnose the domain controller. Consideration. Ensure that only trusted administrators have the necessary permissions to run the command. Use the principle of least privilege to limit access to only those who need it. 2. Confidential information and logs. Output content. The verbose output, /v, can include sensitive information about the domain controller's configuration, errors, and potential vulnerabilities. Consideration. Store the log file, c:/DCDIAG /DCDIAG_report.log in a secure location with restricted access. Encrypt the log file if necessary to prevent unauthorized access. 3. Network traffic. Diagnostics traffic. Running DIAG may generate network traffic, especially during replication and connectivity tests. Consideration. Ensure that diagnostic traffic is not intercepted or monitored by unauthorized parties. Use secure network channels, e.g. VPN, if running diagnostics remotely. 4. Impact on domain controller performance. Resource utilization. Running DIAG can temporarily increase CPU, memory, and network usage on the domain controller. Consideration. Schedule diagnostics during off-peak hours to minimize the impact on critical services. Monitor the performance and ensure it does not affect the overall network operations. 5. Data sensitivity and compliance. Regulatory compliance. Ensure that running diagnostics and handling the output comply with relevant data protection regulations and organizational policies. Consideration. Follow best practices for data handling, storage, and sharing. Maintain an audit trail of who runs diagnostics and accesses the log files. 6. Log file management. File storage. Storing log files on the local drive can be a risk if the machine is compromised. Consideration. Regularly review and clean up old log files. Consider moving log files to a secure centralized logging system. 7. Mitigating potential exposure. Access control. Restrict access to the domain controller and the generated log file to authorized personnel only. Consideration. Implement strong access control measures, such as multi-factor authentication, MFA, and role-based access control, RBAC. 8. Audit and monitoring. Audit logs. Keep track of who runs the DIAG command and when. Consideration. Enable auditing and logging for administrative actions on the domain controller. Regularly review audit logs to detect any unauthorized or suspicious activities. 9. Secure disposal. Data disposal. Ensure secure disposal of the log files when they are no longer needed. Consideration. Use secure deletion methods to ensure that log files cannot be recovered after deletion. References: Microsoft Docs, DIAG. NIST Special Publication 800-53 provides guidelines on securing information systems, including access controls and auditing. CS Controls offers best practices for securing IT systems and data, including principles for administrative access and data protection. By adhering to these security considerations, administrators can mitigate the risks associated with running DIAG and ensure that their Active Directory environment remains secure.
Very, very good answer if you need to focus on the security when running some commands like this. Okay, so again, one of the, let's see the answer of Gemini concerning the same question. Security consideration, data sensitivity, okay, security measures, file permissions. Okay, this was said before, and very, very short answer. Not as that clear as ChatGPT 4o. If we go to Claude and see the answer, permissions and credentials, okay, sensitive information exposure, okay, logs file security like encryption or consider storing with restricted access, network security. This computation contains such as IP, ensure proper security measures for firewalls, okay, and encryption the connection. This is done automatically. If you are in a domain environment, all of the connection between the domain controllers is encrypted and secure, as far as I know. And this is by default, by the way. Are in place to prevent unauthorized access or eavesdropping, secure transmission. I've said this before. Log retention and disposal. This was said by ChatGPT 4o. Auditing and monitoring. This is also said by ChatGPT 4o. Compliance and regulatory requirements. The same. So this is not. They have the same answer. One of the good things, or one of the good answers also, or one of the good questions we can ask ChatGPT here: what potential future enhancements or features could be added to this line of code to improve its functionality or usability? So if there is any enhancement you can do to this command. So if I need to enhance this command output or functionality, is there a way that I can do that? So let's see the answer of ChatGPT 4o, which was a really good answer. It provided me with a complete script, so it will not only run the command, it will do a batch script to run the command and to file the output of the command and to even convert the output of the command to different formats. So let's see how this is a good way to ask the AI to improve the command itself by adding additional switches, or by adding different command lines, or adding some additional commands to improve the functionality of the DCDIAG command. Just wait for a moment and see the answer.
Enhancing the command DIAG/S, Win 2016 DC 1/V/F, C, \DIAG report.log can improve its functionality and usability. Here are several potential future enhancements or features. 1. Parameterization and configuration file. Description. Instead of hard-coding parameters, allow the command to read from a configuration file or accept parameters dynamically. Implementation. Use a configuration file, e.g., diag_config.txt, to specify the domain controller, verbosity, and log file path. CMD. Copy code. Read parameters from a configuration file for /f, tokens equals 1, 2 delims equals, %% AIN, diag_config.txt, do set %% A equals %% B. Run diag with parameters from the configuration file diag/s, %dc_% verbose %/f, %log and file %. 2 error handling and notifications. Description. Add error handling to capture any issues during the execution of the command and notify administrators. Implementation. Use conditional statements to check the execution status and send notifications via email or a logging system. CMD. Copy code. Run diag and capture the error code diag/s, %dc_% verbose %/f, %log_file if %error level %neq0, log the error and send an email notification echo error running diag. Error 3. Automated scheduling. Description. Schedule the diag command to run automatically at specified intervals using Task Scheduler or a cron job. Implementation. Create a scheduled task that runs the script at regular intervals. CMD. Copy code. Schedule the script to run daily at 2 a.m. tasks/create/sc daily/tn diag task /trc:\/path/DCDIAG_script.cmd/st2 o'clock. 4. Dynamic log file naming. Description. Use dynamic names for log files based on the date and time of execution to prevent overwriting previous logs. Implementation. Incorporate date and time variables in the log file name. CMD. Copy code. Get the current date and time set log_timestamp equals %date, -4, 4% %date, -10, 2% %date, -7, 2% time, 0, 2% time, 3, 2% set log_file equals C, /diag_report %log_timestamp %.log. Run diag with the dynamic log file name diag/s, %dc, %verbose, %/f, %log and file %. 5. Custom test selection. Description. Allow administrators to specify which tests to run instead of running all default tests. Implementation. Use additional diag parameters to specify specific tests. CMD. Copy code. Run specific tests diag/s, %dc/test, dns/test, connectivity/v/f, %log_file %. 6. Enhanced logging and reporting. Description. Enhance the logging mechanism to include more detailed reports and possibly export to different formats, e.g., CSV, HTML. Implementation. Post-process the log file to convert it into a more readable format. CMD. Copy code. Convert log file to HTML, example using a PowerShell script, PowerShell, command, get content %log_file %out file path c:\/DCDIAG_DCDIAG_report %signlog_timestamp %signed. HTML, encoding UTF-8. 7. Integration with monitoring systems. Description. Integrate the diag output with existing monitoring and alerting systems like Nagios, Zabbix, or Splunk. Implementation. Use scripts or APIs to send the results to the monitoring system. CMD. Copy code. Send log file to monitoring system, example using a hypothetical API, PowerShell, command, invoke REST method, URI, http://monitoring, example.com/API/logs, method post, body, get content %log_file %raw. By incorporating these enhancements, you can significantly improve the usability, functionality, and effectiveness of the DIAG command in maintaining and troubleshooting Active Directory environments. Explain in simple terms. ChatGPT. Sure, here are
Just a moment, guys. So here, as we can see, let me get a little bit further. So if we go down, we can see this is a very, very detailed answer on how to enhance the output of this command line, but it is very, very technical. So I asked it to explain it in simple terms, what was stated before. So let's see how he will simplify it.
Sure, here are some simple and practical enhancements you could add to the DIAG command to improve its functionality and usability. 1. Use variables. What? Store parts of the command in variables. Why? Makes it easier to read and change. How? CMD. Copy code. Set dsym equals win 2016 DC1 set log underscore file equals C /diag import dot log diag /s percent dsym percent /v /f percent log and file percent. 2. Error handling. What? Add checks for errors. Why? To know if something goes wrong. How? CMD. Copy code. diag/s percent dsym percent /v /f percent log and file percent if percent error level percent neq0 echo error running diag. 3. Schedule automatic runs. What? Run the command automatically at set times. Why? Regular checks without manual intervention. How? CMD. Copy code. tasks/create/sc daily/tn diag task /trc:\path/ to /DCDIAG underscore script cmd/st2 o'clock. 4. Dynamic log names. What? Use date and time in log file names. Why? Prevents overwriting old logs. How? CMD. Copy code. Set log underscore timestamp equals %date -4 4% %date -10 2% %date -7 2% %time 0 2% %time 3 2% set log underscore file equals C /diag %log stamp %log diag/s %d %/v/f %log and vol %. 5. Custom test selection. What? Run specific tests only. Why? Focus on needed diagnostics, save time. How? CMD. Copy code. diag/s %dsym %/test DNS/test connectivity/v/f %log under file %. 6. Enhanced reporting. What? Convert logs to HTML. Why? Easier to read and share. How? CMD. Copy code. PowerShell command get content %log underscore file %out file path C:\DCDIAG /DCDIAG underscore report %sign log underscore timestamp %sign HTML encoding UTF-8. 7. Integration with monitoring tools. What? Send log results to monitoring systems. Why? Centralized monitoring and alerting. How? CMD. Copy code. PowerShell command invoke REST method URI http://monitoring example.com/API/logs method post body get content %log underscore file %raw. By implementing these enhancements, you can make the DIAG command more user-friendly, automated, and integrated with your existing systems. This helps in maintaining the health of your Active Directory environment more effectively.
So we can see here, this is the simple explanation of the script. And now here is the whole script. You can all take it or as we can see here, this is the complete command. Okay, now we can copy it and make it in a CMD format and put it in a task scheduler or a schedule task. This will run the command with these parameters. As we can see here, very detailed answer and professional answer. And this is a very professional script using variables and using timestamp and using error checking. Okay, so all of these should be a good thing. And we can see here where the line contains double dots here, this means this is a command. So you can or you can deduct from that that the command or the script is from let me show you also. The command begins from echo off until this line. The down or the other lines are or from here, all of these are comments. You can use them if you like, or it is optional. So as we can see here, also he is explaining the script again. So here is saying he have explained all of this before. So for example, maybe here variables for parameters, DC name stores the domain controller name, verbose mode enables verbose mode for detailed output, log timestamp generates timestamp for dynamic log file naming, log file defines the log file path with the timestamp. Anyway, so this is a very good uh, addition or to the line. So the line does some or it will get a desired output, but this is an enhancement for the output. Okay, so the output will be more organized, the log will be more, log name will be more convenient by adding timestamp. You can specify the tests to use. So as you can see, this is a very good answer. Here, the last thing, or we can discuss here, display the expected outcome after running the command. So if you need to have a simulation of the output, you can ask the AI to simulate the output. So for example, if we can see here, this is a simple log file content, or this the log that might appear. So this what should be written in the log file. This is a sample log file, okay, as we can see here. So this is another thing. If you need to ask or to ask the AI about a desired output or what is the expected outcome, you can ask it to display a desired output, display a sample of the output. Okay, so this is one thing good to say. Let me see if I ask it also Gemini also to. I don't trust Gemini in coding. All of the codes are not that correct. And the desired output, we have seen this. Okay, one good question here. Let me first go to Claude and ask it if there is anything. Okay, here one thing also. What are the common errors or issues people encounter while using this command? So this is also one good question. What are the errors that could arise from using this command? Here he will list the errors and he will give you the error code or the error name or the error displayed. So let's see, this is a very good answer as well. So you can know if you need to run a command and you need to ask the AI what are the common errors that will appear from this command. This will be a good thing also to troubleshoot the command. Just wait for a moment.
When using the command diag/s win 2016 DC1/v/f c /diag report.log, users may encounter various errors or issues. Here are some common ones. 1. Permission issues. Problem. Running the command without sufficient permissions can lead to errors. Solution. Ensure the command is executed with administrative privileges. Right-click on the command prompt and select Run as Administrator. 2. Incorrect domain controller name. Problem. Specifying an incorrect or misspelled domain controller name. Solution. Verify the domain controller name, Win2016 DC1 in this case, is correct and reachable from the machine where the command is run. 3. Network connectivity issues. Problem. Network issues that prevent the tool from connecting to the specified domain controller. Solution. Ensure the machine has network connectivity and can reach the domain controller. Use ping or other network diagnostic tools to verify connectivity. 4. Log file path issues. Problem. Specifying a non-existent or incorrect path for the log file can cause errors. Solution. Ensure the directory C:\DCDIAG exists or modify the path to a valid directory where the user has right permissions. 5. Firewall or security software interference. Problem. Firewall or security software blocking the necessary ports or services required by DCDIAG. Solution. Configure the firewall or security software to allow the required traffic. Ensure ports for LDAP, DNS, and other services are open. 6. Replication and DNS errors. Problem. Errors related to Active Directory replication or DNS configuration. Solution. These issues often require specific troubleshooting steps, such as verifying replication partners, DNS settings, and ensuring all domain controllers are correctly configured. 7. Outdated or corrupt DCDIAG tool. Problem. Using an outdated or corrupt version of the DIAG tool. Solution. Ensure that you are using the latest version of the tool, which comes with the Windows Server operating system or can be updated through Windows Update. Example error messages and troubleshooting. The RPC server is unavailable. Explanation. This error indicates that the tool cannot reach the RPC server on the domain controller. Solution. Check the network connection, firewall settings, and ensure the RPC service is running on the domain controller. Failed test connectivity. Explanation. This error suggests that there is a connectivity issue with the domain controller. Solution. Verify network settings, ensure the domain controller is online, and check for DNS resolution issues. Access is denied. Explanation. This error occurs due to insufficient permissions. Solution. Run the command with administrative privileges. No record of this site can be found. Explanation. This error indicates an issue with the site configuration in Active Directory. Solution. Check the site and subnet configuration in Active Directory sites and services. References for further reading. Microsoft Docs, DIAG. Troubleshooting Active Directory replication problems. Common Active Directory issues and resolutions. By being aware of these common issues and their solutions, administrators can more effectively use the DIAG command to diagnose and troubleshoot domain controller problems.
So here, as we can see, a lot of data provided by the AI tools, and all of this will help us to explain or to understand the command and what does it do, what does it do. So for example, this is also a Gemini answer. As we can see, most of the Gemini answers are not that good, and recently we have seen a huge problem with the AI or Gemini AI concerning incorrect answers, which was large issue from a couple of days. There is a problem with the Gemini AI, a huge problem actually. I think the free one, not the paid one, but anyway, there is a problem from the beginning of Bard and then Gemini. It's not that good. We can see ChatGPT 4. I think it is more and good, better than Gemini. Even Claude is better than Gemini. So we can see there is a problem with the Gemini tool. I do not recommend this tool only in certain situations. But here, as we can see, the answer is not that much. So this is the end of our video. We have 1 hour and 30 minutes. The upcoming video will begin working with the tests. So you see there is 20 tests or 21 tests. We'll discuss each one of them step by step. We will see that some of these tests are related to the Active Directory database. We will discuss the different sections of the Active Directory database. We will see how a replication problem could affect our Active Directory or our Active Directory domain. We will discuss every detail of this test. So if we understand every test, we can know when to use it, or we know this test, or we know how to use this specific test when we see certain signs in our Active Directory health. So this is a very good thing. Until our upcoming video, hope this video is informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.